It is the Accounting Influencers podcast going out to 32,000 accountants in 150 countries. We're the official broadcast partner of Accountex 2023, and I'm thrilled to have with me today one of the legends in the speaking world. It is Brad Burton. Hello, Brad.
Rob, how you doing, friend?
We're doing great. We go back a long way, Brad, don't we?
Oh, well, initially, this is what people don't know. We locked horns, but things change, and we're now friends. Brilliant.
We are indeed. You've got quite a story to tell for people that haven't come across you and your story, and you've told it so many times, but you're very passionate about it because you teach people through the mistakes in the life that you've had. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it depends which version of me do you want. Do you want Brad Burton, the guy who left school with no qualifications, that dad left when I was 6 months old, that got shot at when I was 21, that's done 4 years on benefits, been addicted to drugs twice, delivered pizza at 31? Or do you want the Brad Burton at 31, walked out of a job, started a business, 25 grand in debt. That business became a national organisation for networking, the business networking organisation, the largest joined up business network in the UK. Written 4 books and the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And people say, Brad, how did you become the UK's #1 motivational business speaker? I just made a website and said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And the first person, Rob, that you have to convince of your brilliance is you. And when I say this about that UK's #1 motivational business speaker, you know this, when I called it on, everyone was aghast. He's not the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. Rob, I'm going to let you into it in exclusive. That term, motivational business speaker, never existed until I created it. And that's why I found a niche for that thing, you know?
I love that example. When I first got into networking, coaching networking,
that's right.
I called myself the the world's leading authority on business relationships.
Beautiful.
And I put it on my email signature, and I thought, I'm probably not, but I'm going to wait for somebody to tell me that I'm not and tell me that they are. And guess what? Nobody did. But at that point, you've got to step up and own that, and then the right to be called that. You can't just brag and say that it's the case. You've got to do it.
Well, listen, you know, I've just keynoted today in Accountex, main stage, and actually, I'd come unstuck real soon if I wasn't that guy. I'd be a laughing stock. Don't get me wrong, I've died on stage hundreds of times. I've spoken on stage thousands of times, but I've died on stage hundreds of times. And most people would say, I'm never doing that again. What I said is, what did I like best? What would I do differently next time? And that is what an expert is. An expert is someone that has made all the mistakes in a particular niche field. When it comes to speaking, I've made them all. Marriage, made them all. Networking, made them all.
Well, part of your story, Brad, is your mental resilience and the things you've had to bounce back from. Is that naturally inherent in you, or have you had to hone that over the years?
What question? It's good, isn't it? Listen, I think
because people might say, oh, it's okay for Brad, he's naturally confident, he's got it all going on, he can bounce back from anything, but there's a lot of hurt and failure in there and brokenness.
So, Rob, if I was to put your hand out like this, right, put your hand out, and I go and put a red hot coal, how long would you hold on to it for?
Seconds.
Right, but what we end up doing in life is we hold on to things. My business, 1,148 days ago, collapsed. That's the reality of it. A £1.8 million business. Boris Johnson said, please stay at home. And actually, you know, it was only going to be a couple of weeks for a fire break. Let me be quite clear. When you run a national business network with 500 meetings in the Brewers Fairs and the hotels...
It's a face-to-face business.
Gone overnight. And when you've got bills of £80,000 a month coming in, you know, you're already in a bit of trouble. So anyway, we had to pivot, for the want of a better word. But if I was to hold on to my identity of being the network king, I would be in big trouble now. But I had to let go. A bit like the red hot coal, lots of things I've had to let go of. And this is the key to bouncing back. Let go. You've been cheated on, let go. You know, somebody's ripped you off, let go.
Why do people hold on to it though, Brad?
Because it's unresolved. It's unresolved. You want to get vengeance. What they did to me. And actually, it's a bit like my niece. She's gone, 36. She died a couple of years ago. And the reason I'm sharing this is that she would not want me to hold on to the pain. What she'd want me to do is hold on to the memory, which is exactly what I've done. So I've let go of the pain. Doesn't mean I've let go of her. I've let go of the pain. And this is what anyone who's tuned into this right now, you will have something that you're not dealing with. And one of the things that I talk about is I bought a house over in Somerset. I'm originally from Salford, council estates and what have you. I bought a 5-bedroom house over in Somerset. And the reason I'm saying a 5-bedroom house is I wanted a 10-bedroom mansion. In my 5-bedroom house, I have one room that I don't go in. If I'd have realised my dream and worked really hard, guess what? I'd have 6 rooms that I don't go in. So we end up chasing this stuff that actually we believe that that's where success lies. Anyway, in this house, in each of the corners of the room was a spider. And I don't know what's that about. I said to the wife, do you want me to get them out? She went, oh, it's all right. I don't mind small spiders. I said, Kerry, where do you think the big ones come from? So this is what goes on. People do not deal with the small spiders, and consequently they go into big ones.
What happens it's different when you have to let go of people. So let go in circumstances, economic things, business breakdown, everything else. I'm a committed Christian, as you know, and forgiveness is taught a lot. When people let you down, betrayal, loss, disappointment, personalities, business partners, things go wrong. We're complex emotional creatures,
Correct.
Brad. Letting go of that, forgiving people and moving on, that's more difficult.
Well, it is. However, what I would say is at some point you've got to let go. You
Yes,
know, at
I
some
agree.
point. So you can hold on to something for 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. And actually, think about it. It erodes our focus. It erodes our focus because we're spending energy, mental horsepower, instead of 100% on what we're doing, is we're spending it on what they did or this, that, and the other. So now you're at 85%. So I've let go of everything. And listen, when you run a business network, as I did with thousands of members, people will do that because you don't know what's going on there. No one ever goes out to make a mistake, ever. But what happens is we make mistakes, and at the time, that was the correct decision. And the only time we realise whether something's the right or wrong one is after the event. So I have been done in numerous times over the years, but I'm okay with it because somewhere along the way it's got me to this guy as a 50-year-old man who realises that actually there's no good time to have a war. We had a war back in the day, I don't know if you remember, going 15 years ago, stupid, but I was young, stupid, and actually this is what life's about. This is actually going, you know what, let go of the past, it's time for the future.
Yeah. What's driving you these days?
Making a positive difference. You know what, listen, I'm going to do something just to explain, right? So, microphone here. Can you bring the microphone? So, here's how I was. Money, happy. This is where I am now. I've got contentment in my life.
Yeah.
I have happy and a contentment, and that's the bit that eludes so many people. You know, they have everything, money, opulence.
You're less angry now, Brad.
Well, you know what? I can still be that guy, but look, the biggest fight that you're ever going to have in your life is not with other people, it's with yourself.
Yeah.
And I had my own personal Brexit going on, 51% positive, 49% negative. I am now, I would consider myself to be 5% that old Brad, which is still there, and 95% this new Brad. And most people, not most people, some people, the only way that you can be the person you need to become is by letting go of the person who you once was. And that person who I once was, I'm not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've moved on.
Now, we're at Accountex.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest shows in the world for the accounting
No
profession.
question.
I know you value accountants
Big
because
time.
you built businesses
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know the advice that
Yeah,
they
of course.
give. But why accountants for you? Why are you here?
Confidence. Confidence, that's what accountants are. Confidence. These are the cornerstone, the baseline of business. Let me tell you, you don't get your accountancy right, you don't get the economy right. So there's something about what these guys do, Accountex, and I'm being really honest here. I actually bumped into Caroline yesterday. Sorry, King Charles told me not to name drop. But I jumped into, you can edit that. I bumped into Caroline. And I said to her, Caroline, like first time I met her, I said, oi.
Caroline Hobden, the Duchess of Accountants.
The boss. Right. I said to her, look, what you've done here is something special. And I mean that. It's like everything about it is quality. Everything. Even as a speaker, there was water on there, there was free chocolate, there was everything's nice about this thing. And I think the country needs this because we've all been, no, not me, lots of people have been waiting for somebody else to go first.
Yeah.
And what they've done is they've gone, right, I'm going to swear, balls on the table, let's do it. And they've done it. Be under no illusions, even the small halls, the small theatres have been stacked out. It's crazy what they've done football-wise.
They'll appreciate the recognition because particularly in COVID times, everything went belly up with business.
Yep.
You know that.
Of course.
Accountants stood in the gap in a way, making sense of what the government was telling us in
That's
terms
right.
of messages and stay at home and all of that. But they went beyond knowing the numbers and acting almost as therapists, counsellors, psychiatrists, psychotherapists, in being that shoulder to cry on
True
for
story.
businesses that were failing,
Yep.
and people just didn't know what to do. So
but you know, Rob,
you acknowledge that, don't you, with
Oh,
their role?
100%. You know, this is the thing, is that north isn't north anymore, south isn't south.
Yep.
And people are trying to go back to a time and a place that no longer exists. The old world is gone. It is now time to move forward, not looking back. When we look back, we get depressed. When we look towards the future, oh my God, Putin's going to nuclear bomb us. Shut up. You know, I've stopped the news for the last 2 years. I don't watch the news anymore. It's funny because I realise, you know, you are what you eat. You are what you see, you are what you hear. Stop running the news. People are there, the news. So this is the new world right now. And this, I think, is a declaration of that new world.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're a businessman, you want to affect the business world. You know that by influencing, mentoring, coaching, helping accountants,
Right.
you can get to millions of businesses.
No, you know, I'm hoping that these guys are going to drag me out over to Canada. But listen, joking aside, exceptional show. And I mean that. It's I needed this. Me. And if I needed this, So did all the thousands or tens of thousands. I'm not saying that lightly. Tens of thousands of people that are through here. They've done something special.
Knowing the Brad Burton I knew before, you had to be the man.
That's right.
You had to be the brand. You had to be the face of it. But there's a humility about you now that I'm sensing where you don't have to be the man anymore.
You know what? Once you've been the heavyweight champion of the world, anything else that follows beyond that isn't the heavyweight. So I've acquiesced that space. But what I've got now is silent power. And I realise that, I've always been, that power that I had, that influence, I'd give my last pound to a big issue salesman. And then I realised something, that's not serving the world for what I'm due to be here for. And I've realised the more power I've got, the more influence, the more money, the more clout, the more I can help people. There's a fundamental flip in what I'm doing. I go back to that silent power. The Brad of old used brute force to make shit happen, and I was exceptional at it. The Brad of now doesn't do anything. I'm very Yoda-like in my approach, and it works.
Accountants suffer a little bit from something called proximity bias, which is, they're super smart people,
no
technically
question,
brilliant, smarter than you and me. But they get so close to what they do that they don't see it as remarkable. They don't see it as brilliant. They don't see the difference that they really make. So part of your role, I guess, is empowering them to say, look, you do have power. Well, you are making huge, significant differences in businesses.
To make a positive difference. I keynoted 4 years ago at ZeroCon, which was for me,
that's a big one.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
That was validation. Validation that somewhere along the way, the working class lad from Salford, Manchester, with tattoos, with a shaved head. Don't worry, by the way, boys and girls, I'm not a drug dealer anymore.
He's only got the one mobile phone.
But we can change. We can all change. But that's for me was validation. And I sent that message out there. That was 4 months before the pandemic. 4 months. And the words that I shared then are the words that I share now, which is there is a better version of you. And actually, why wait for permission to be that better version? Right now, if you're tuned into this message is for you. Rob and I have been talking for the last 20 minutes. This is for you. Be a better version of you. Stop waiting for permission. If you won't need permission, I'm giving it you.
What's the first step in that, Brad, as we draw to a close? It's okay, accountants watching, bookkeepers, fintech professionals will be saying, it's okay, him saying be a better version of me, but what does that look like? Right. What do I do as a first step? So,
ready? Be you. Stop pretending to be someone else. Stop putting on a false voice. Stop a telephone voice. Stop wearing a three-piece suit and a pocket watch and a monocle in order to be professional, right? You are a human. You are a person before you're a business person. But what's ended up happening is people have put their identity into being a business owner, and that's where it goes wrong. Do yourself a favour, put your identity of being a human being, because what ends up happening is if you've got, let's say for the sake of this argument, 20 people pretending to be professional and be business-like, hello, no Charles, all that, right? You end up losing a piece of yourself. So you look at me in the way that I talk and the way that I think, and you know this, Rob. Along the way, people said, oh, he's a fraud, he's this, that, and the other. Well, actually, if I'm a fraud, why am I on the main stage? If I'm a fraud, why did I run a national network? If I'm a fraud, why have I written 4 books? So you're always going to get someone that's telling you got it wrong. You're going to get critics. And what I want you to do is I want you to ask this question. I want you to be better in the next 2 weeks. What have I got to do to be better in the next 2 weeks than the previous 2 weeks? That's it. And be you. Be you. Be you. Be you. That's it. And when you find yourself not being you, ask yourself a question, why am I doing that? Is it to win business? Okay, interesting.
Or is it to impress people? Because when I'm being me, I might upset that person, or I might not do that right.
I'm not bothered. And this is the thing.
We care too much, don't we, about what people think?
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, the thing that matters is that you like yourself. And this is what we end up doing. I see people who don't like themselves, but they're pretending to be something, and you become a vanilla version of yourself. That's why someone like me stands out, because I don't care. And what I mean by that is I know I'm a good person. I know I'm making a positive difference. And if people don't like me being a good person, people don't like me making a positive difference, that's okay. Yeah. I'm good with that.
Brad Burton, so much truth, so much encouragement, so much validation for people watching.
It's been a long journey, mate.
So much permission you have, and you've earned the right to speak the way you do, and you're out there making a difference. We applaud you for that. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Fist bump, come on, that's how we do it. Thank you, Rob.